All right, hi everyone, and welcome to another Tribe Forex Power Hour. I am Marcello, and today is March 5th, 2014. I'm going to do today what I've done for years, which is an analysis of the markets and evaluation of our biases, which are based upon the 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time close of our daily bars and also our 4-hour bars. Why do we do that? We find that it gives us a higher probability of success from a swing trading perspective. All right, so having said that, let's go ahead and talk about how it works. So as I mentioned before, we use our biases. So what is a bias? Okay, well, a bias is the probability of price moving in one direction or the other. So if we have a buy bias, we believe that the market is most likely to move up. If we have a sell bias, we believe that the market is most likely to move down from a probability standpoint. All right, so how do we trade our biases? Okay, so let's say that we decide we have a buy or a sell bias. We can take a set and forget it trade. That means that we know exactly what our entry is, our stop loss, and what our take profit will be, and we set those up and we go about our business. We live our lives. We go to sleep. We go to work. We have fun with the family, whatever. That's a set and forget it trade. Then we also have day trading. Can day trade in the direction of our bias using our points of decision for bigger profits. What are points of decision? They are points in the market where the market is most likely to either turn or it's more likely to move continually in that one direction. Either case, the market has to make a decision at that point. Therefore, we call it a point of decision. We have a free trading course at tribeforex.com where you can simply just walk inside there and once you enter, free to enter and become a member of the tribe, you can find the trading course. It says trading course, I believe is exactly what it says, free trading course. There's a tab right above on our website in the main members area. Okay, having said that, let's take a look at the market, determine what our biases are today. All right, so yesterday, I want to talk about the pairs that I'm most interested today. I'm more likely than not going to trade the dollar Swiss. I actually like that, the technicals on that today. But let's talk about some of these other currency pairs. Let's talk about the pound. Yesterday, we called a buy on the pound for obvious reasons. This big, beautiful blue line that you see here is a trend line. It's our support area. And it really showed us that the market wanted to move up, and that's exactly what it did. We said between, in fact, if you can watch my video, it'll give you a lot of confidence in our biases. Basically, I said that price most likely was going to bounce off this 66.50 area and move right up to the top, right, this yellow line here at 67.37, and that's exactly what happened. That's precisely what happened. So, you know, it just doesn't get better than that from that standpoint. That's just a beautiful trade and a beautiful opportunity to trade that. Now, what's going to happen from here? We are dead in the apex. This is the red zone. Okay, this is where you want to, where you're more likely than not going to see some major action in the market the next day or two. Okay, and that actually goes in line with what we expect. We've got non-farm payroll coming up. We've got so many different, we've got ADP coming up. We've got so many different announcements that are coming up. And this is the beginning of the month. We do expect some form of a breakout. Now, what do I expect to happen here? I do not expect the same consolidation that we've been seeing in the next couple of days. I'm expecting for some form of a breakout. Do I know when that breakout's going to come? I don't. But so for that reason, we're right in the apex. I can't call this one for you. I think that there's a good chance that we could get a breakout. Breakouts only occur about 20% of the time. In fact, they say 15% of the time breakouts occur, trends occur 30% of the time, and the rest of the time, 55% of the time, is when we actually have, you know, we have consolidation. And so 55 to 60% of the time, it's consolidation. So we've been playing consolidation markets for the most part in the last few days. As you can see, these last few bars, if you follow my cursor, have shown us nothing but consolidation. It's just going sideways. But in its sideways movement, we've been able to take advantage of it. Now, when we get this breakout, we're going to be able to determine from the areas of support and resistance, and also the support areas and the resistance areas, we'll be able to most likely tell what direction price is most likely to go in. Today we do not have that high probability, so we've got to let this slide. Now, for where I'm sitting, it looks like we did have a confirmation of price, moving up. It did close within this apex, within this flag that we have here. Can't stand Windows 8, by the way. I like the older versions before that. One swipe of your keyboard, of your mouse, and all of a sudden you're on another screen. Makes no sense. And I digress. So here we go. We're going to, so the pound dollar here, what I'm looking to see is more likely I'm looking for price to break out of this. Now, all the action, the point of decision is really going to be at 167.26. So we could see price come back in here down to 166.61, which is the area of resistance, support, sorry. So, I'm just not going to call this one on pound dollar, not today. I'm not going to call it on the pound dollar. We're going to look for more movement. We could easily call a sell based on the fact that the market has continually acknowledged this area of resistance here, this yellow trend line that I have above. We could easily call a sell here, but we are right in the apex. It is the red zone, so you're going to want to be careful there. Okay, so that is where I'm at. I'm not calling anything on the pound dollar for the time being. All right, so on the euro dollar, I did call a buy, believe it or not, and that was because of these trend lines that we had, areas of support and resistance that we were, thinking about. We thought that price would go down to 137.23 and begin to bounce off and move up. And you know what? Price did actually move up, which was interesting. Not to the extent we wanted it to. It really did go down, and it really did test, and it finally did move back up. The trade that I'm currently in is currently just about flat in the market. It's up a few pips. I would say it's up about 7 or 8 pips here. Got in at 137.25, I believe, or in that vicinity. This is not once again, this is not an area that I want to. This is not a trade that I want to call. I don't want to call this bias here. The reason I don't want to call it is because, yeah, we're sitting right on these areas of support. I believe the market has acknowledged these areas of support, but there's not a lot going on. It's still consolidation. This big green candle that you see where my cursor is following here, this is still dominating and really forming an area of support and resistance for the rest of them. It's an IBO. It's an inside breakout waiting to happen. So what we have is 1, 2, 3 full bars that are inside of this bigger master candle is what we would call that. So what's happening here? We're still in consolidation on the euro dollar, and we're sitting here waiting for the potential of a breakout. Okay, and that's what's happening here. We've got nothing else to look at for the time being on this euro dollar. This one's not so clear. I think there's a chance that price could move up because I still see these past areas, these ghost trend lines is what I like to call them, because they're no longer valid. Okay, so they were broken, and so they have, their relevance has diminished slightly, but they're still there. They're still there. Okay, they haven't gone away yet. They can still be considered an area of support and resistance, and for us, support here. So because of that, I think there could be a bounce up. There's some Fibonacci's right above this area as well, which cancel it in the opposite direction. It's just there's not really clear anything on this particular chart. It's just we're in consolidation. I think there's a chance that price could move up a bit. We will have to wait and see what happens, but there's nothing clear. So I'm not going to call it a euro dollar bias here either. Now, on the other hand, the dollar Swiss, which usually runs counter to the euro dollar, they have an inverse correlation. I would most likely be looking to see the same thing going on, just completely discombobulated movement here on the dollar Swiss. I do not see that at all. Actually, I see very, very clear signals here. We drew this green line. I just added these cyan lines here, just to figure out what the areas, if there was something else going on here on the dollar Swiss. But even if you took those off, we have these green lines, okay, and this was our area of support previously. This is our area of resistance. We had a flag forming. Price broke down through the flag, and we found another area of support here. Price really bounced off of that area of support. I called a buy yesterday and the day before, and or sorry, the day before, where this big green candle was. No call on it today or yesterday, and what we have is we have acknowledgement of this area of resistance now that used to be support on this dollar Swiss. What formed on it? So basically, price did its best to break through this this lower support area, or sorry, it used to be support. It's now resistance. It broke through this resistance area and then closed below it. That tells us that the market acknowledges this area of resistance now, and for that reason, we're going to go ahead and call a sell here on the dollar Swiss. I think that may be one of the clearer signals, just because we had this trend line on here for a very long time now, the last couple of weeks, and it has really proven itself, and the market's showing to acknowledge it. So that's a very good place for us to look for a sell here. So in the dollar Swiss, I would be looking for a sell in the dollar Swiss. All right, so the New Zealand dollar, we had a nice reversal candle right off of this really strong area of resistance here above. Price did go down a little bit, but then really came back up and retested this trend line. It's not clear, though, because not only did it retest this trend line, break the high of that previous hammer, okay, basically formation here, but it closed below both of them. It closed well within the trend line, closed well within this area of support, and so there's a chance, being that where we are, we could see price go ahead and back down and really sell off on this New Zealand dollar. So unless we're looking at a breakout here, we've really got nothing else to look at. Now we do have 1, 2, 3, 4 points that really confirmed an area of support here, and although it's very short-lived, I would say that it's really in its infancy, if it's anything. It definitely has 4 points. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 lows where it's confirmed, and so we've got to follow that as well. So we're going to be looking at this green line to see how the market acknowledges it, if it acknowledges it at all. Now, as far as the New Zealand dollar, for the first time in a while, I really don't have a call on it. I think that we could see a sell on the New Zealand, but we could also see a breakout if the news is what we need it to be here. So I'm not calling New Zealand either. So far, I've just called a dollar Swiss sell. That's all I've got. That's very clear from a technical standpoint. All right, same thing on the Aussie dollar. We kind of stopped right on this area of resistance, this trend line, yellow trend line. There's also another one, a cyan one that I just added, blue. Price could either break through this area or could continue downward. It closed above, just barely above this trend line, closing at 89.83.6, and of course actually closed right below it, actually, because we have close at 89.83 and the trend line being at 89.87. So it's very, very close. We could see a sell-off here on the Aussie dollar. I honestly don't have a call here. It's not very clear. It's not very clear. We're not getting a very clear reading on the dollar, Aussie dollar. I think that in the days to come, we'll see things really begin to become more clear. Now, this euro yen, guys, this was interesting because we do see more of that consolidation. We did exactly get what we wanted. 38.2 was the support area, and this trend line above was the resistance, 140.78. Look at my call from yesterday. You will see that we acknowledge these areas, and that's exactly what the market is giving us more of. It's giving more of that consolidation, and these two areas have been confirmed. Now, what does that mean for us? It doesn't really mean anything. I think that if the market wanted to, it could definitely sell off here, just because we've hit these two areas of support which are intersecting at this moment, which makes them stronger. We could see a sell-off back down to this 50 EMA, which has been acknowledged by the market as well. We could see that. So, I mean, just looking at this, if we were to stay online with where we are, I think we could see a sell on the euro yen. The dollar yen, this one also, 50 EMA, trend line. So we're right back in the same position. This looks like a sell on the dollar yen. And on the pound yen, we actually have the opposite. We broke through this area of support and resistance, that trend line that was very, very clear. So we're still in consolidation here as well on this one. Well, I'm not going to call the pound yen there. Okay. So that is what I have. I think I've got a dollar Swiss that is very, very clear to me as far as where it wants to go. I think the dollar yen is more clear too. I think those two are the clearer signals that we can see from a technical standpoint. And really, guys, going into non-farm payroll, which is coming up, that's, we've got to wait and see what the market does, where it goes, and what it does show us very clearly. If you don't have a clear signal, don't take a trade. There's no reason to do that. So once again, I am calling dollar Swiss sell and a dollar yen sell as well. And that is pretty much my calls. And you can hear my rationale, go through this video. You can always rewind it, go back and see what I said about the other pairs, to see how, see if anything makes sense to you there, and if you have a conviction about another currency pair that goes with any of my logic about the other currency pairs, feel free to do so. Just make sure that you're prepared to learn in the process of taking those trades, whether right or wrong. With that, guys, thank you for your time. I love doing this. Love sharing with you guys. This is what I'm going to do regardless. And so I'm looking forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. Let's see what the market gives us. Perhaps it will give us more. We'll see you tomorrow for another edition of the Tribe Forex Power Hour. All the best. Bye-bye.